Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, everybody. This is Joanne Victoria, the host of the Sanity Project podcast, with another amazing episode. Our guest today is Michelle Kuei. Michelle Kuei is a certified confidence and leadership coach who helps negative self-talkers to discover inner strength and beauty by overcoming fear of judgments. Michelle published a book called Perfectly Normal, an immigrant story of making it in America. Her book is available on Amazon, or you can get a signed copy via her website at elevatelifecoaching.org/order book, and we'll get back to her website later. Let's see, where did I miss? Okay, Michelle is also the secretary of the United Nations Association Pasadena chapter in Southern California, and I'm sure she's going to tell us about that, as well as, because she has so much spare time, a clinical pharmacist at Keck Medical Center of USC. For those who don't know, that's University of Southern California. Michelle was born in Taiwan, grew up in New York, and now lives in LA with a short-haired brown tabby cat named Buster. If you're looking for her, odds are good you'll find her at the gym. Welcome to the show, Michelle Kuei.
Thank you so much, Joanne, for having me.
I am grateful that you are here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. It's just been an amazing journey coming along this way. And I think I really wanted to kind of go back to a point. I know we're in 2020 right now, but I wanted to take everyone back to 2016. I want everyone to imagine we're all in isolation now, but imagine that we're standing in the nature surrounded by mountain and there's trees and breezes everywhere. And there I was on Machu Picchu, standing on top of Machu Picchu, where everything just changed for me completely. And you know, just to give the listener a little background of how I look, I'm 4 feet 4 inches tall. I am very short, very petite. I walk with crutches, and my legs, they're disfigured, so they're not straight. They look crooked, and I can never find the right pair of pants to fit into my body, or fit my body into my pants. I could never do that. And so that's who I am. That's how I look. But for me to going up and standing on top of the Machu Picchu, it was just such a biggest triumph in my life. And I would never forget that day when I reached the top. I saw all these visitors standing up and they start clapping and cheering for me. And I just broke down in tears. I cried. And
I would cry too. I mean, I don't have any problems with my legs, but I'm not going to climb Machu Picchu. And I think for the very fact that you did it, regardless of what issues you have health-wise, that's an amazing accomplishment.
Yes. And it was very transformative for me too. And I never really acknowledged that transformation. I never acknowledged that accomplishment. I always thought it was, well, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? And when I started to look back my journey coming up, being able to stand on top of Machu Picchu, I didn't realize how much I had gone through, how much pain and suffering I had to live through in order to stand up and say, you know, I'm going to do something very different for my life. And I'm going to book my ticket, go into Peru alone, and I'm going to hike those 26 miles. So there are two ways that you can get up to Machu Picchu. One way is you can take the train and they'll take you right to Machu Picchu. Or you can choose to do a 4-day hike, and that the whole hike, the trail is 26 miles long, and it's all uphill, going up to ladders and stairs, and just imagine, you know, using your imagine using 2 crutches and just walking up the stairs. Every stair, I was doing a lot of push-up. It required a lot of physical strength and also that mental strength that in order to do each step, I have to put my crutches down, get onto my legs and knee, and then start crawling on each step, because each step is longer, taller than the length of my leg. Yeah, because I have really short legs. So in order for me to climb up, I have to really get down to my hands and knee and crawl up. So I crawl pretty much all along the 26 mile every single day. And to just kind of backtrack a little bit in terms of what was that journey like up to that point, I had a lot of depression. I always felt sorry for myself. So the result, my disability is a result of an accident that had took place when I was 11 years old. I had a car accident where this car was coming towards me, really driving recklessly, and I didn't even know that it was coming. By the time I heard people talking and there's a lot of motion going on, it was already too late. So I woke up in the hospital, and when I looked down to my body, everything from my waist down was all wrapped with plaster, and I was just feeling a lot of pain. I was trapped. So that when that accident took place, it pretty much changed my whole entire life thereon. I had to learn to walk again. I was given a pair of these really ugly metal bracelets to wear up until age 18. And I was going through my teenage year where, I'm a girl. I wanted to look pretty. I wanted to dress up in miniskirt, but I couldn't do that because I was given this pair of ugly metal shoes that I have to wear. And that was really shameful for me. That's like, when I look around, none of my friends look like that. So what makes me feel really like I was the focus of all the things that's going on around me, and then I started to internalize these feelings, and I just kept it inside and thinking that I am not normal. And I think that's why I title my book Perfectly Normal, because I want it to be normal. I want to look normal. When I look around in magazines, in social media, I see women, they're tall, they're beautiful, they're able to wear these really tight bodycon dress, and it doesn't fit. I don't fit into those categories. Like, where do I fit in? So I was struggling with the self-identity. Where am I in this world? What is my purpose? Why am I even here? Why was I born? So I was really struggling finding my self-identity, and my mind would just keep busy, and it was just running. There have been nights where I wake up and I just couldn't go back to sleep because of all that anxiety and fear that was living inside of me.
This sounds awful.
It's not the way to live. It
No.
is absolutely not the way to live. And sometimes I would just wake up and, sitting in a chair, and then for no reason at all, I just start crying. And there was just enormous amount of loss and just not feeling belonging anywhere. And I think that sense of belonging somewhere, someone who I can connect, who can relate, that was what I was looking for. I was looking for that connection to the world.
And I think you certainly have found it in your work. You do so many things. I don't know which came first, whether you were involved with the UN, the United Nations first, or you became a clinical pharmacist first, or what you did first. But whatever you did, during all of that, you had to work on overcoming your own negative self-sabotaging criticism. Am I correct?
Yes. So, yeah. And so the pharmacist actually came first because I was going through the school, and, my parents wanted me, because I'm disabled already. So my parents wanted me to have some kind of skill so that I can bring some income into the family or in sustaining myself. So they wanted me to become a doctor, or later on it turned into pharmacy. So I ended up getting a pharmacist degree. So I have a doctorate in pharmacy, and I was able to live off of that for a long period of time until I really got burned out from all the the corporate organization and the system that's within a big hospital. I got really burned out from that, and there goes my negative self-talk again, because I was telling myself, well, I'm not getting the management position because this is how I look. And everything is based on like your first impression. How do you look? How do you present yourself? Like, what do you have to say and how do you say it? So I was struggling with that. And I said, I got to change this. And since, my physical challenge is the challenge I have to deal with, why not do something about this physical challenge? So I started to working out. I wanted to get my body into shape. Whatever shape that I may fit in, I don't care anymore. I want to get into shape. And so I went on to becoming a member at a gym, and further, even take it to further, I decided I'm going to hire myself a personal trainer. I said, if I can't do this by myself, maybe someone can help me with this. And so I started to work with a personal trainer. And that year, I told my personal trainer, hey, listen, I know we've been training and I feel that I'm getting stronger. I think I'm going to hike. And he said, oh, great. So where do you want to hike? Like the hill over here? We have mountain here in California. And I told him, no, I wanted to do the big hike. I think I wanted to go to Machu Picchu. And he was standing in front of me and he was shocked. He said, where do you want to go? I said, I want to go to Machu Picchu. And he said, it's really, I heard a lot of people saying, it's a really difficult trail. Are you sure you want to do this? I said, yeah, I want to do this. If this is my challenge that I need to overcome, I'm going to overcome that.
Well, you did that.
Yes. So that same year, 2016, I booked myself a ticket, packed my bag. I have a little luggage, and I brought my 2 crutches, and I made sure it's pink because I want to document all this. So I make sure they're fusion pink. I brought my 2 crutches, and then I started walking. Every day I will wake up at 5 o'clock, put my headlight on, and I will start doing the tracking. So when I came back, I started to realize that there's so much inside of me that wants to come out. And that coming out was providing inspiration to others. Because along the way, during the trail, I keep seeing people clapping at me and they giving me a thumbs up. So I was actually inspiring them to move forward, to take action, to keep going. And they were also inspiring me by, oh, I can do this. They were giving me thumbs up. It's like a validation and acknowledging that I can do this. So I found inspiration such a big gift that I have to give to the world. I decided, okay, so let me look into how I can provide that. So I decided I want to write a book to share my story, and maybe one element in the story, someone can use it, be inspired to take action. And the other thing I chose was becoming a coach. And so I actually enrolled myself into a coaching program and got certified as a coach. And just earlier this year, I got certified by the International Coach Federation. Mm-hmm. So I got accredited by them as well. And that started to take to the next level. And, I want to do more for the world. I want to become, someone who's not just receiving all these gifts, all these benefits from people who's around me. I want to be able to provide and contribute whatever gift that I have. I want to be able to contribute. So I went on looking into nonprofit, and then I actually spent a year, 1 year. I spent 2 weeks in Cambodia. So I went and volunteered at Cambodia. I was teaching children English at a nonprofit school in Cambodia. I came back, I was really inspired. So I started to look into what can I do in the community here. And that's how I got involved into nonprofit and became a board member of United Nations Association. And now I am a secretary of the United Nations Association Pasadena chapter. It's been an amazing journey knowing how much more I can do when I turn off my self-talk.
That's amazing as well. So that means that the book that you have also includes the 7 levels of self-perceptions and how it may provide us with options in choosing how we want to show up in our lives. Is that correct?
Yes. And that's the basis of how my coaching style is. And that's the energy leadership. So basically there's 7 different ways of how we perceive the world. We can be the victim. We can be, having a lot of anger, resentment, or we can choose it from looking at it as a very loving, caring place. Or we can even take it to the next level and looking at the opportunity, behind how to create the win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I think your stories itself, I'm listening to you and I haven't said much because you're saying it all, that you want to contribute. Mm-hmm. And this is what, you asked why, I chose you because you contribute. And now those are the people that I work with, those who want to contribute and don't know how because they don't know their path. Your path is already clear to you. So you know that who you are, what your gift is, what your essence is, what your spirit says to you, and you use it to help people in all areas, including climbing Machu Picchu, because even though you did it before the book, while you were doing it, the book was real anyway. It was just out in the universe waiting for you to put pen to paper, so to speak.
Yes.
And it was real. You didn't need the acknowledgement of those people, but they just assured you, those are your angels, your spirits, your guides, whatever, assured you that that you were on your path, literally, if not figuratively, climbing the stairs, crawling the stairs, all this way to Machu Picchu. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why don't you give us a couple of those, you've got the 7 levels. Why don't you give us the 7 levels, and we'll see how much we can talk about each of them. So what is the first level?
Yeah. So the first level is a victim level. So victim not because in an actual event, but victim as we are the victim of our own thinking, our feelings. So victim in the sense that you are at the effect of the event and not at the cause of the event. So that's the first level, the way that how we perceive the world. And typically when we are in this victim mentality, generally we don't take any action. So there's a lot of apathy, there's a lot of lack of action, or people would really feel lethargic when they have this victim mindset. The next level or perception would be someone who's in a conflict or in a fight and flight mode. So either we're angry at someone, we're blaming what's wrong, and always looking at, what is wrong rather than looking at what the situation is. So a lot of conflict or anger energy. The next level is the tolerance or responsibility. This is the level where we start to elevate ourselves and open up our gate to the more positive way of thinking and seeing life. The responsibility comes along, well, maybe I can start stepping into my situation, taking control. And that's where, if I were to relate back to my story, that's when the time where I decided, you know what? The physical challenge is my challenge. I'm going to be responsible for my challenge and I'm going to do something about it. So you start stepping into taking responsibility and you start getting into action. The following perception would be someone who's, very caring, loving, and it's all about putting someone else's first. Generally, I like to think of it as mom. Mom usually have that caring, loving perception where I'm going to take care of my child first. I'm going to take care of myself later. So it's always about the other person, not so much about ourselves. The next perception would be the level 5 perception, and that would be the entrepreneur's opportunity perception. This is about creating a situation for win-win. What can I do to support you? And what if you can do the same for me? That's be on a team, and let's do this all together as a team. Next level would be the level 6 perception. This is where we tap into synthesis or, a visionary, becoming a vision. I can, bring everyone on board, and I appreciate everyone's contribution as they all talented. Everyone is unique, but let's do this, and we can do this as a group, as one, together. And the highest level of thinking or perception would be the wisdom perception, or level 7 perception. And at this level, things are just flowing as it is. The season will change, and so will our life. There is nothing that we need to really attach ourselves to. Everything happened for a reason, and we're always living in that present moment. every single time. And sometimes when we have this wisdom perception, you may seem out of touch to many people. But, when you think about how the world operates, it's true that we go through season. And just like the nature have season, our life also has seasons. So there's spring, summer, winter, fall. It all comes just naturally flow. So those are the 7 level of perception, or sometimes I call it energy leadership. This is how we show up in the world and how we can influence each other through our perception, the way that we think.
So what would you say? I'm sorry. What would you say is the most difficult step for people? I'm looking at, okay, they're a victim, so we discussed that. They're flight or fight, we've discussed that. I'm looking at number 4 or 5 being difficult for people. Is that correct?
So the good thing is we all tap into these different levels at any given time. Right. Yeah. So the most difficult level is level 1 and 2, because this is a level where we're stuck, we're being angry towards ourselves, and we're also angry to others. And those are the moments where we either don't take any action, or we take action that can potentially be harmful to others. When you're in that level 4 and 5, you have compassion and caring for others. So you're willing to contribute and bring your gift to the table, whether it's creating a win-win or it doesn't matter. So there's a more broader view when you have that level 4 and level 5 perception, where you see everything and looking at all the possibility and all the opportunity that is around you. So contrary to the belief that level 1 and level 2 are actually the most difficult to get them unstuck, to get them up wanting to do something.
Yeah, a victim takes a lot of practice, and the more practice you have, the more bound in that concrete you are. So it's it's like once a victim, always a victim, because you can see when you're observing someone or a brand new client or a prospect or somebody like that, if they're a victim and they choose to stay there, it's very difficult to work with that. So what if we have a lot of people listening and some of them remember when somebody told them, oh, you act like a victim all the time? What would you tell a victim, somebody who's in victim mode, to do? To give them some tasks.
I would definitely say, I want them to know that this is what you're feeling is perfectly understandable.
Yes.
Whatever event that's going through that have gone through, it's perfectly understandable why you're feeling this way. And I think a lot of time we don't acknowledge ourselves for the strength that we have. The fact that we are sitting here and listening to the podcast, it means that we did something so well to get us here, right? Whether it's getting off the bed, getting up in the morning and just getting dressed. That is a big accomplishment. So always acknowledge yourself for your accomplishment up until where you are now. And when you do look back, look at all the strength that you were able to use. Maybe it was, you are very strong in terms of your opinion. Maybe you are really determined. You're always a go-getter. Those are your strengths. So always, I encourage people to at least remember 3 strengths that you did so well and got you here. Name those, or write down what those 3 strengths are, and look at your situation now. How can you apply these 3 characteristics about who you are? How can you apply that to your current situation in doing something different for tomorrow?
I appreciate that. I think that there's a lot of situations that come up, but people want whatever mode they're in, even if they're at let's say level 6, just prior to the wisdom mode. No, let's go with level 5. They have the opportunity, but what they don't realize is they have a greater opportunity if they acknowledge all their skills at that point, because most people don't acknowledge who they are and what they're capable of doing. They just continue day after day doing the same thing. And I think that creates a problem. And then people get stuck, and then they don't think that, I believe that everybody's here for a reason, period. And the reason is to contribute, period. You're doing it. I'm doing my best at doing it. And so if they're here for a reason, to be a piece in the puzzle, there's some meaning for them to be alive. They're not, even if they're short-lived, there's a reason. Even if there's a death at birth, there's a reason. We could go through this and spend hours talking about these details, but I think people tend to forget that they have gifts that they bring to the planet. And what's behind their gifts is some strengths that they have, even if it's just one strength. One strength that, to me, I see in a victim is that they're stubborn. And stubborn, but you could be stubborn in lots of ways.
Yeah.
But there is this stubbornness that comes across when people want to be right all the time. And, they are right and everybody else is wrong. And they can't move forward because they're so stubborn about it. But if they can move off their stubborn position to being stubborn about something that is beneficial, that would help. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's just about trust, right? Just trusting. We may not see the result in that moment in time. I don't know, by using this strength, what it's going to take me to tomorrow.
Right.
But if I were just to trust that process, just trusting the path. And you brought up a good point earlier about the path. And I don't know how that trail was going to look like. All I could do is just trust and just keep stepping onto forward and just keep laying down. That trust is so important.
Well, you trusted yourself enough not only to climb Machu Picchu, but also to write a book called Perfectly Normal, An Immigrant Story of Making It in America. This book is available on Amazon or at her website called elevatelifecoaching.org. It's elevatelifecoaching.org. And if you order the book on her website, she will sign it for you. I want to thank Michelle Kuei for being here today. It's been enlightening and encouraging to know that it's all possible. Anything is possible. I truly believe that, and I think Michelle is a vanguard for that. So thank you, Michelle Kuei, for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm overjoyed that you are here, even if my tone of voice seems early morning.
No, you sound great.
Okay, super. All right, everybody, have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.